Okay, Español 4, this is the past subjunctive, especially for you guys. How do you form the past subjunctive? So you begin with the ellos, ellas, ustedes form of the verb. You drop the ron and you add your following ending. So this is a little bit like what we've been talking about for the verb quizzes. When we say the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, we're talking about this form right here. And then these are the endings that are added to it. If you look at the examples, it's important that you notice what happens in the nosotros form. So we have here our nosotros forms here, and these are for regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. We have caminaron as our verb. We get rid of that ron, and then we add our ending, and notice that there's an accent that goes in there in order to be able to keep the same sound. Same with perder. Dieron is our verb. We're getting rid of that ron and we're adding an e accent over that e. As far as vivir goes, vivieron is the verb. We get rid of the ron and we add an accent over the e. Verbs that have changes or irregularities in the usted, ellos, ellas form, such as verbs that would have an irregular preterite form like pedir, dormir, and sentir. These are stem changers. So stem changers either go e to I or they go o to u, which is what we're seeing here in these verbs. This shows you the verbs just so that you can see what happens to it. That form, we take off that ron and we're adding our ending to it, and that change stays through all 6 of those forms. Other verbs, such as a verb that would go I to Y, like influir, notice that the Y stays, so we're using that influyeron, we're getting rid of that ron, and we're adding our ending. Same is true for the verb saber, which is irregular, so we have supieron, we get rid of that ron, we add our endings, and that change stays all the way through. For fueron, same thing, all right, we're using that stem, and ir and ser are the same in the preterite, so they have the same past subjunctive form as well. The uses of the past subjunctive. So the past subjunctive is required in the same situations as the present subjunctive, anytime there's doubt, denial, emotion, polite requests, etc., except that the point of reference is always in the past. So when the verb in the main clause is in the past tense, then it requires that the subordinate clause be in the past subjunctive. You can tell that by looking at what comes to the front. For example, we say, queríamos que el gobierno respetara los derechos humanos. So notice that our queríamos is in the past tense, which is why we are requiring the past subjunctive here. And I've color-coded them so that you can see what's going on. Me pareció is in the past tense, therefore we need the subjunctive, but we need the past subjunctive. Me pareció increíble que los liberales perdieran las elecciones. Or no sorprendió que el abogado no supiera cómo reaccionar ante la amenaza. Here are some examples of present subjunctive versus past subjunctive. So it says, ellos sugirieron que vayamos a la reunión. They're making a suggestion, which is why we need the subjunctive. And then here it is in the past tense, and that's why we need the past subjunctive right here. It says, I hope that there's no problems. Again, we have hope there, so we need our subjunctive, and then here's our past subjunctive. As far as the needing a president that would support our cause, when we needed one in the past, that's when we have to use the past subjunctive. Same is true for she defended her. All right. The expression como si, which means as if, is always followed by the subjunctive. So if you notice here, it says como si no le importará, como si fuera un ladrón, y como si no importará. So I've given you 3 examples here to be able to check that out. The subjunctive is commonly used with querer. When we want to make polite requests or to soften up statements, a lot of times we use the past subjunctive for that. We say something like quisiera que me llames hoy, or quisiera hablar con usted. FYI, just so that you know, and the whole chart didn't show up for you here, but it says in Spain and some other parts of the Spanish-speaking world, the past subjunctive is used with another set of endings. I know, I get it. You'll see these fairly often in literary selections. We are not responsible for these endings, but I just wanted you to be aware that they exist. And actually, now that I'm looking at the chart, they're all there. We decided to use the verb ir and ser as the example, and so we're using fueron as our base. We're taking off the ron and we're adding our endings. So just be aware that there's another set of endings for the past subjunctive. Some places use them, other places use the other ones. We're going to go with the other ones. Those are the ones that are more familiar. Here's some things for practice. All right, so it says, el dueño de tu apartamento viejo era muy estricto. In the past, that's why we need the past subjunctive. Comentar con las reglas que tenían que seguir. So we'd say, el dueño del apartamento dijo, and then you have to take these things and you're going to put these verbs in the past subjunctive. All right, so do that, and you can check your answers on the next page. Here are the answers to those. You'd start it out with this statement where you'd say, el dueño de nuestro apartamento nos dijo que no usáramos la calefacción, que no limpiáramos, que no tuviéramos, que no hiciéramos, sacáramos y encendiéramos. You can expect to have a note check tomorrow. Thanks for listening.